All right, last game released on every console. All right, how many of these are gonna surprise me? Let's see. Let's see if I can. Let's see how this goes. Yeah, let's see. There's a point in every console's lifespan when the developers approve one final game for their system. Okay. Alien Invasion for released 4 years after the. Oh, okay. Dang. 2 bits. The Atari 5200, the last game was Gremlins. 5 years after the console's release. Damn, 5 years? The Atari 5200 lasted 5 years? That's a shocker. That's a mega shocker. Alright. SG-1000. That was a Sega console. Yeah, that was a Sega console. It used the little card slot thingies. The Black Onyx. That was a year after I was born. Only 3 years after that. Let's see. SG-1000 again? Wait, what's the difference? Hold up. Oh, the My Card. Yeah, and then there was the other one. Yeah. Yeah, and then there was the other one. The last game I had this. My dad had a Intellivision when I was a kid. That was the first video game console I ever touched. When I was a kid was the Intellivision, and we had Spiker, Super Pro Volleyball. Yep, we had that game. We had this game. I very distinctly remember this game. I thought when I was a kid, I could see it now that those are like beach dwellers and bystanders in the background. I thought they were like weird shaped bushes or something back in the day. Intellivision lasted 10 years. I know. It's actually amazing that Intellivision actually like lasted 10 years. 9.8 years after release. That's crazy, dude. And I don't care what anybody says, Intellivision was a great console. Dang, dude. Clax. The Atari 2600. 12 year. You're telling me the last... Dang, as late as 1990. Holy shit, dude. As late as 1990, an Atari 2600 game came out. And the Atari 2600, that was like 78, 79, something like that. That's crazy, dude. That's a long time for a console to get a game. That is a long time. 7800. Speaking of Speaking of the other things that flopped. The 2600 was a tough son. Oh, the 2600 was an amazing console. Too bad the 52 and the 78 were garbage. Too bad they were garbage. Sentinel. You remember this one. Famicom Disk System. Yeah. This was the upgrade they gave to the Famicom in Japan. Had little floppy-like discs that you put in there. Janken Disc Joe. 6.8 years after the Famicom Disk System came out. If I'm not incorrect, they were releasing NES games way later than just 6 years. Turbo Graphics. My buddy Johnny, when I was a little kid, my buddy Johnny had this game. He and I were like the only two kids that we hung out with that had Game Gears, but he was the reason that I even got to touch a Turbo Graphics. Yeah, he had this game. Turbo Graphics CD. Turbo Graphics was a great console. Look, let's just be for real here. Turbo Graphics CD, Turbo Graphics, 16. Dude, Turbo Graphics was a cool-ass console. It just couldn't compete with Nintendo or Sega. It just couldn't compete. That was the problem, PC Engine, baby. Speaking of Turbo Graphics. The last NES game was Lion King? Holy shit! The last NES game was Lion King. It's a good one to go out on. I mean, that's around the time that Lion King came out in theaters anyway. That's around the time Lion King came out in theaters, so that makes sense. It's a good one to go out on. 95, though. We were only, if I'm not mistaken, about a year-ish away from the N64. That is hella late. Holy shit, dude. That is hella late. Sega CD Shadow Run. I remember seeing this in stores. February 23rd of 96. Poor Sega CD. It could have been, if they had focused more on like actual like video games instead of just focusing so much on full motion video crap, you know, the Sega CD could have been so good. Like this really was the first like stubbing of the toe when it came to Sega shooting themselves in the foot. It really was. It really, really was. The Sega CD could have been so cool. Like, I've always said, if Sega wanted to survive to this day as a hardware seller, they should have gone in this order. Genesis, have the Sega CD be a separate console completely. Just have it be a separate console completely. Don't even worry about 32X. Saturn, and get most of that Japanese library, because there's a ton of games in Japan that did not come out over here that were actually really, 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 really good. Like, get most of that Japanese, library over here to support the Saturn and actually get a legitimate Sonic game on Saturn, and then do Dreamcast. If they had done that instead of doing all this other bullshit and not carrying on the franchises that like skyrocketed them to fame in the Genesis era, Sega would still be in hardware to this day. Like, I'm not even kidding. Sega would still be in hardware to this day if they had just like supported franchises like Streets of Rage and shit like that, and Shinobi, and done better on that, and actually did more legitimate Sonic games. If they had done more stuff like that, they'd still be in hardware. Speaking of 32X, this game sucked. No. That game sucked. A buddy of mine had a 32X. That game sucked. This was a terrible Spider-Man game. Web of Fire was garbage. Speaking of garbage, oh, you think 1.3 years is bad? How about not even a year? The Virtual Boy did not even last a year. You want to talk about a flop. You want to talk about an absolute flop. The problem, the funny thing is, a lot of the games that were on Virtual Boy were actually good games. They actually were good games. The problem was they were on Virtual Boy. That was the problem. They were on Virtual Boy. Like, if some of this stuff had been like on Game Boy Color or Super Nintendo, these actually would have gone over really well. Like the Wario Land game that was on there was like really good. Like 3D Tetris actually was not bad. It really was not bad. Again, the problem was it was on Virtual Boy. Like, all of these games should have been on Super Nintendo or Game Boy. Like, even Angry Video Game Nerd said, if Virtual Boy had had something like Doom on there, it probably would have done better. Can you imagine Doom like this? 3DO. I did not own a 3DO. You're telling me wait. The last game on 3DO was Mahjong? Of course it was. How appropriate. PC Engine arcade car. Mando Monogatari. It's a Puyo. The Lynx, oh my god. The last this and the Jaguar, the last gasp of air for Atari. The last gasp of air. Oh my god, the Lynx was... Like, seriously, like, Game Gear tried. And Game Gear actually didn't do good bad. Like, Game Gear actually has, the Game Gear actually has, like, a pretty legitimate good library. Like, it really does. And there are some absolute bangers on Sega Game Gear. Like, the Game Gear is not a bad handheld. And I know people make jokes, oh, the LOL, that battery life, though. But, y'all, I'm serious. Like, the Sega Game Gear had a killer library. Like, this was the only console you would have seen Sonic Triple Trouble on. Tails had his own game? Sure did. And it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. Like, look. Like, this is... I'm about to drop that. Like, this right here. Shinobi 2 Silent Fury. Amazing game. Like, amazing games. Game Gear was solid AF. Both of these games, these Power Ranger games right here, they were only on Game Gear because they were developed for Game Gear. Like, Game Gear was the shit. Game Gear was the shit. The thing that won Nintendo the handheld race was Pokemon. I remember this game. Speaking of Game Gear. Speaking of Game Gear. See, look at that. Like, Game Gear was a good handheld. Like, it's still good. Game Gear games are good. Game Gear does not have a very shit library. Oh, God. I don't believe this footage is real because I've never seen a Jaguar CD that actually works. So I don't believe for a minute that this footage is real. Or, yeah, oh God. I think I remember that. Yeah, Worms was the last Jaguar game. Worms. Oh, Worms was good. Sega Master System. This was their 8-bit. Mickey's Ultimate Challenge. With Minnie jumping on jars and turning on a giant CDI. This looks like something you'd see in like Beast Wars or something like that, or Reboots or something. I don't know. What do y'all think of that? CDI. That just looks like it would just be rail shooter. Super CD. Dead of the Brain 1 and 2. Oh, interesting. Ooh, that's a good one to go out on. Neo Geo CD KOF 99 Millennium Battle. That's a good one to go out on. Yeah, if you're gonna go out on one of the best King of Fighters games ever made in KOF 99. Yeah. This console right here, the Neo Geo CD, just the Neo Geo as a whole, like, this console was like 3DO with some exceptions, but Neo Geo was the closest thing to arcade perfect in the 90s. Because remember, arcades were like the top tier as far as quality in games are concerned. Neo Geo was the closest to arcade perfect. It was the closest. Like, this version of KOF 99 was the same as the arcade version. And the cartridges were like this, like, no lie. I know I keep pausing and I'm not sorry. Like, no lie, the cartridges on a Neo Geo were like literally this big. They were this wide, they were this tall. They were huge. Neo Geo cartridges were huge. I'll show you a picture of them in just a minute. But yeah, the Neo Geo CD. Sega Saturn, I remember this damn game. Hey guys, let's take a beat 'em up game in Final Fight and turn it into a really janky fighting game.
0, 6, 6, 6.
Still got mine. Except mine's the color. Still got my Neo Geo pocket. Of course, the last game, unfortunately, for the Neo Geo was Baccarat.
Tie.
Of course it was. Super Famicom. Metal Slater Glory Director's Cut. Metal Slater. Huh. Hell yeah, dude. This game right here. Card Fighter Clash. Now, I have Card Fighter Clash 1 down here. It's down there somewhere. I have Card Fighter Clash 1, the SNK version. The number 2 one, we never got it over here, but it was Card Fighter Clash was so good. Pretty legitimate card game. Pretty legit, pretty fun.
Está certo disso?
Shodo Mihao, Volume 2 for the Mega Drive. Huh.
Que pena. Você errou.
Well, if you ever wanted to play an obnoxious version of Tetris... Hi, that's completely obnoxious. The last game on Game Boy was a One Piece game? Are you serious? Holy shit, y'all. Y'all, look at that year. Look at that year. 13 years after the original game. This is original Game Boy, not color or anything like that. Original Game Boy format, 13 years. This is how much of a monster. If you didn't grow up during this era, then it's hard to explain. Like, it really is hard to explain to people that did not grow up in this era of time. But, like, seriously, like, when I say the Game Boy was a monster, it was a monster. Like, nothing could top the Game Boy. Like, Game Boy outsold, I'm pretty sure, I know it outsold Super Nintendo. I know it outsold N64. I'm not sure if it outsold the NES. Hold on. Let's see, hold on. Yeah, the Game Boy as of April 2022, it had sold 118 million units across the world. The original Game Boy. Yeah, the original Game Boy. And I'm pretty sure the original Game Boy, 118 million, y'all. Like, that's crazy. That's freaking crazy. It is still the Game Boy and Game Boy Color handheld, because it's the same family. The Game Boy and Game Boy Color are still the number 3 best-selling game console of all time at 118 million. Yeah, it outsold the original NES. The original NES capped at 61 million. The Game Boy at 118.69 million. The only two things that are beating the Game Boy was the Nintendo DS, to no surprise, and the PlayStation 2, to no surprise. Right underneath it is PlayStation 4 and the Nintendo Switch. I would not be shocked if the Switch passes PS4. I would not be shocked if Switch passes Game Boy. It's going to take a hell of a lot though for it to pass Nintendo DS though, and PlayStation 2. But yeah, Game Boy, 118 million. Like I said, Game Boy was a beast. It was a beast. It really was. And think about that. For the longest time, the Game Boy was the top-selling console. It would not be until the PlayStation 2 and Nintendo DS that it get topped. Think about that. It was a beast. I remember this. 6 years after release. Yeah. The 64. I have good memories of the 64. I had very good memories of the 64. I very much loved my time with the Nintendo 64. I enjoyed my Super Nintendo a lot more. But here's the thing that happened with me and Nintendo 64. I played it to death until I put my hands on a PlayStation 1. And unfortunately, yeah, I didn't pick up a 64 again for a long time. And you want to know, and I know it's going to sound, like, of course, it's going to sound cliche, but you know what? It wasn't just the fact, and he never went back. It's not that I never went back. I went from consistently playing it to a few years later. But y'all, and it should shock nobody. It should shock nobody. What was the game on PlayStation 1 that made me just go from consistently 64 to consistently PS1? Because of course it did. Because of course it did. And this shouldn't shock anybody, It shouldn't shock anybody. Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 was good, though. Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 was good, though. Oh, yeah. Hey, guys. What do we want our last game to be? A homework game. A homework game. So thrilling. Dicing Night period? Oh, that's Wonder Swan. Never mind. Although I will say, with the thing about the Wonder Swan color, they did get some really nice 16-bit versions of Final Fantasy 1 and 2 and 4. Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. Look at this. 13 years. 13 years after the Neo Geo came out. The last Neo Geo game was the year I graduated high school. Samurai Showdown 5. Neo Geo lasted a long time. 13 is the new running record. Yeah, 13.5. Yeah, Neo Geo. It didn't do well over here, but I do believe it did pretty decent in Japan. The problem with the Neo Geo was it was expensive. Like, it was expensive. It was hella expensive. Like, I don't even know. Well, I say it might have been done decent, but yeah, I don't even know if it made. I don't even know how much it made, to be honest with you. Hold on. Neo Geo Console Sales. How many did it sell? Let me see. Okay. About 1.18 million. Okay. That's not bad. 1.18 million. That's not bad. Not bad at all. Not bad for something else being on the market. Well, I say not bad, but then you look at the other stuff. Yeah, like I said, the problem was it was expensive. You worked at software. You worked at Software Etc. when they were sold out. We sold out one every 6 months. Yeah, you couldn't find these. They were rare. The last PlayStation 1 game was Snappy 3 Fun Games. Oh, I'm so happy to know that there are 3 fun games. 10 years after PS1 came out. Nice. I laugh because the last Engage game was a Warhammer game. I laugh because the last Engage game was a Warhammer game. I laugh so damn hard. I'm sorry, Warhammer fans. I'm laughing at you. I'm laughing at you, Warhammer fans. Dreamcast. Oh, you came into this world too. No, go back. Dreamcast. Go back. I don't care about Madden. Dreamcast. The world wasn't ready for you. Poor Sega Dreamcast. Poor Sega Dreamcast. Like, man. The world wasn't ready for it. But also, Sega did it to themselves, so yeah, but honestly, the world was not ready for Dreamcast. Oh yay, Madden. Aren't you thrilled? It was a good system, just garbage timing and marketing. Yep. Pixeling a Pixeland. I laugh that the final games on both GameCube. I laugh that the final games on GameCube and original Xbox were Madden games. Though to be fair, this was a particular era of time when Madden games were not stupid. Like, this was when Madden games were still pretty decent.
Back breaking free. Brown makes the play.
Like, these were still pretty decent football games. Well, Neo Geo just got knocked out of the record. 13. I remember selling this game. Y'all, think about this. November 8th of 2013. You know what was coming out November of 2013? The PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One came out in November of 2013. Think about that. The PlayStation 2 managed to squeeze out games throughout its lifespan and into the beginnings of the PS4 and Xbox One. But that showed you the absolute power that PlayStation 2 had. It was a monster. It was a monster. It was a monster of a console. I mean, you know, because it's like if you couldn't afford a PS3, you got a PS2. But the thing was, it wasn't like getting a PS2 was like you're getting a piece of shit. Because the PS2 had a fantastic library. Like, PS2 had a monster of a library. It really did. So it's like, even if you got a PlayStation 2, dude, you were still getting good games. Like, you were still getting very, very good games on that system, you know? Obviously, PS3 was the next step up, but it's not like you were getting gypped with a PS2 either, you know? Yeah. Great library, backwards compatibility. Yeah, and the fact that it's a DVD player. And the fact that and the fact that it has a DVD player. I mean, jeez, it sold itself. Like, that console printed money. Pro Yaku Spirits 2014. Last PS... Wow, look at that, y'all. Think about that. The PSP lasted 9... A lot of people don't think about this. PSP lasted a lot longer than people think it did. PSP actually... Like, the PSP was kind of like the Game Gear. It really was the last time that Nintendo had some legitimate competition in the handheld market. Like, the PSP was a very good handheld, and it had very good games. Literally the only thing that held PSP back was it did not have something to compete with Pokemon. Like, that was it. Like, the fact that they did not have something that could match Pokemon is the only reason they could not surpass, like, the Nintendo DS. But think about this. The Nintendo DS did 154 million in sales, which is astronomically high. But y'all, the PSP did not do shit. It did about 82 million. Like, it did 82 million in sales. Like, it outdid the Nintendo 3DS, you know? So, I mean, think about that. Like, PSP outdid 3DS, the NES, Xbox One, Super Nintendo, N64, Sega Genesis, original Xbox and GameCube, and Wii U. So, I mean, think about that. The PSP was just, like, it was a very good handheld. The only thing that barely beat it, and it barely beat it, was the GBA. And it wasn't that far behind the Xbox 360 and PS3. So, honestly, like, the PSP had a very good run. Like, it really did. That's hilarious. That the last DS game was Big Hero 6. That's hilarious. Oh my god, that's hilarious. 10 years though, damn. Yeah, DS. DS lasted a long time. In fact, DS came out the year I graduated high school. So I mean, yeah, I went throughout high school with a GBA, and when DS dropped, dude, it was over. You know? Yeah, DS, another monster. The final PS3 game was FIFA 19. That's pretty funny. Hey, almost 12 years. Almost 12 years. Pretty impressive. That wasn't that long ago. September 28, 2018. That wasn't that long ago, guys, that the last PS3 game dropped. This honestly just baffles me. And I remember when they released this a couple years ago, and we were all like, what the shit? Like, y'all, think about this. The Nintendo Switch was out by this time. Okay? Think about that. The Nintendo Switch was out by this time. Okay? And these bastards still managed to squeeze out, like, every year, they were still squeezing out Just Dance games. They were still squeezing out Just Dance games on the freaking Wii U, man. Like, Oh, God. The Wii U does have one claim to fame. It does have one claim to fame that cannot be denied, guys. And that's the fact that the Xbox Series X still has not sold more Xbox Series X than the Wii U yet. Although they'll probably surpass them pretty soon here. But I'm telling you right now, neither the Series X nor the PlayStation 5, I'm telling you right now, neither of these systems, as powerful as they are, none of them are going to outsell the last generation. They're just not. I'm telling you right now, the Series X and the PS5 are not going to outsell PS4 and Xbox One, especially PS4 sitting at 116 million. It's not happening. This was a good game. Prices and availability. Mostly prices and availability, yeah. This was a good game. I wish they had done more with this series. I wish they had done more. Xbox 360 was also Just Dance. Ah, how about that? The last 360 game was also Just Dance. That's hilarious. That is hilarious. Yeah. This is a good game. Epic Yarn, Extra Epic Yarn. These are good games. That's hilarious. Even in 2019, the Wii still got one. The Wii still got one. Freaking Just Dance. I tell you what, dude. I tell you what. It really, that's hilarious. That is hilarious. Oh my God, Just Dance just won't go away. And here's some they couldn't show. Oh wait, no. Okay, wait. Okay, no. Oh, they're listing it. Okay, these are the tops. So Shodo Mihao Volume 2 released 4,791 days after the console's release. Mickey's Ultimate Challenge for Sega Master was 4,806 after the console's release. Mabaroshi no Grand Line Bokenki for Game Boy, which was One Piece, 4,817 days. Damn. Samurai Showdown 5 for Neo Geo at 4,939, and then the top game that had the biggest number of days after the system's release is Pro Ev Soccer 2014. 2 days shy of 5,000. 2 days shy. It's amazing. It's amazing that it's amazing all these games, you know, that you just don't think about this kind of stuff, you know. That was a cool look back in history, though. That was really cool.